What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today we're going to take a look at and listen to Bernie Sanders. He's going to be talking about where they are when it comes to negotiating and moving forward with Build Back Better. But first off on this channel, we talk about financial news and what's going on in Washington, D.C. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. So let's go ahead and take a look and listen to Bernie Sanders. He's going to be talking a little bit about Build Back Better and how they move forward. So here we go.
The independent progressive senator of Vermont, Bernie Sanders. Senator Sanders, welcome back to Meet the Press, sir.
Good to be with you, Chuck.
Let me just start. Give me your take about why the president and the Democratic Party are in this precarious political situation right now at the start of the second year of the presidency.
I will tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. I think the president and the Democratic Congress started off very, very strongly. They looked at the economic crisis that was caused by COVID. We stood up strongly, and we passed the American Rescue Plan, which did an enormous amount in revitalizing our economy, put money into the hands of working people, put money into hospitals and into health care, lowered childhood poverty by 40% by putting direct payments in the hands of working-class parents all over this country. We were off to a great start.
Now, I agree with Senator Bernie Sanders. That $1.9 trillion bill, that first that rescue plan that they had, that was good. That was good. That had stimulus checks in it. It had the child tax credit. It didn't start until July, but the child tax credit was also in that $1.9 trillion bill. So that was a good start, but then they didn't finish. And that's the problem. And so we'll have to see if they can finish. But that $1.9 trillion stimulus package, maybe that's something they need to revisit. Go back to what worked. That actually worked.
We also passed along the way the strongest infrastructure bill that has been passed since Dwight D. Eisenhower in order to rebuild our crumbling roads and bridges and water systems, expand broadband, and create many, many hundreds of thousands of good-paying jobs. We were off to a great start. And then I will tell you exactly what happened. 50 members of the Republican Party decided that they were going to be obstructionists, that they were not going to help us address the crises facing working families, not going to deal with the existential threat of climate, not going to be dealing with the high cost of prescription drugs, the need to expand Medicare, the need to improve home health care, et cetera, et cetera. And then you had two United States senators joining them, Mr. Manchin and Senator Sinema. And then for 5 months now, there have been negotiations behind closed doors trying to get these senators, these two Democratic senators, on board. That strategy, in my view, Chuck, has failed. Yeah. It has failed dismally. We saw it last week in terms of the Voting Rights Act. We now need a new direction, in my view. And that is to take it to the Republicans, to bring important pieces of legislation that impact the lives of working families on the floor of the Senate. And if the Republicans want to vote to protect the wealthy and the powerful, that's their right. Let the American people see what's happening.
So you think this really is a process problem, if you will, tactical problem, not a substance problem. So does this mean you think from the beginning, and I hate even using the word reconciliation for this audience, you know, we don't want to get mired into that Congress speak there. But do you think that was sort of a mistake, right? Lumping it all in, that there should have been separate votes for everything, or now there should be?
No.
Okay.
No, that is exactly not what I'm saying. What is in the reconciliation bill, and I know that's inside the Beltway, is enormously popular. It's what 70, 80% of the American people, NBC should do a poll, find out whether the American people want us to take on the greed of the drug companies and lower the cost of prescription drugs. Ask people whether they want to expand Medicare to cover dental, hearing, and eyeglasses. Ask people whether they want to improve home health care, whether we want to deal with climate change. All of those pieces of legislation are enormously popular. The bill itself in its entirety, and the president deserves credit for looking at the real problems facing this country. But what we had is obstructionism from 50 Republicans to Democrats. What we have got to do now is take the issues to the American people. And if the Republicans want to vote against lowering the cost of prescription drugs, They want to continue to give tax breaks to the rich. Let them vote that way. Let the American people see what's happening. And then we can come together after these votes to put together the strongest bill that we can.
Okay, so I think this is a good strategy. I actually think that they're doing the right thing here. I think they need to move forward, bring it to the floor, go ahead and vote on this large bill. They want to vote on Build Back Better, have it fail, and then have people on record saying that they disagree with some of the things that he talked about. By the way, I will be doing polls on some of the things that he talked about the Medicare expansion, about the prescription drug reform, all these different things that he put out there. I'm going to do some polls on it, but we also need to have these politicians on record voting against those things. And then once they vote against them, now after it fails, then they can start moving forward with, okay, do you like the child tax credit? Do you accept that? Do you accept Medicare reform? Do you accept and do them piecemeal if you have to, but really put people on record voting against this type of stuff, and then you can put something together and try to see if you can pass it. They still have one reconciliation bill that they can pass, so maybe put together the things that they can all agree upon, pass those, and then the things that they can't agree upon, have those as piecemeal bills, and still bring those before the Senate and have them vote on those. And if they want to vote against it during an election year, by all means, go ahead and do that. And another thing I think they need to focus on, and I'm partly to blame for this because I haven't been focusing on it, they need to focus on Republicans. The fact that Republicans are voting against all of this. That's what they need to be focusing on, not just Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema, which I talk a lot about. You have to focus on the 50 Republicans that are also voting against the voting rights bill and not wanting to move forward when it comes to Medicare expansion, when it comes to prescription drug reform, all these different things that are in Build Back Better. We need to also look at Republicans because it's not just two senators. It's not just two senators holding everything up. It's the two senators and the 50 Republicans that are holding things up. So that also needs to be focused on. They're trying to bring that up more and more as you hear these politicians are coming out and really starting to talk a little bit more about Republicans. But the focus should be on Republicans because they should be focused on, if you don't agree with what's on Build Back Better, what do you agree on? What do you want to do for the American people? Because you can't just be obstructionist. You actually have to have a plan. And it's funny because Mitch McConnell, the minority leader, was asked this question, what are your plans? So if you win in November, what are your plans for the American people? And he said, you'll have to wait and see, which is crazy, right? Because we have to wait and see what he plans to do. Why can't he tell us what he plans to do now? That way we can have a good idea. Okay, Republicans want to do this, Democrats want to do this, and then make an informed decision. But he's not telling us anything because they don't have a plan. And that's the sad truth about this whole thing. Democrats are trying to do some stuff. They're not getting it done. They're failing. Republicans are staying quiet about what they want to do because they really don't have a plan. And now we're supposed to be able to choose between the two. It just doesn't work that way. So it's very interesting. Now there's much more of this clip left. I might do a separate video and talk a little bit more. I don't want to make these videos too long, and he talked for about 14 minutes total. So when it comes down to it, Senator Bernie Sanders, he's got the right idea here. I think the focus should be on what Republicans aren't doing. And then also they're going to ultimately have to negotiate with Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema, find out what they agree upon, move forward with what they agree upon, what they don't agree upon. That's when they're going to have to start saying, okay, these are going to probably have to be piecemeal bills. We're looking at a child tax credit. That's probably going to be a piecemeal bill. A standalone bill, and they're going to have to try to figure out how they can get that through. I think it's a very important bill to get through. I think you still have some Republicans that do support it. You have Mitt Romney, you have Senator Collins. Both of them have expressed the fact that they agree with the child tax credit and they want to move forward with that. And so they have some support, so they can work on that support. And I'm sure if you have a couple of Republicans that are speaking out about it, you probably have a few more Republicans that are just not speaking out about it, but they might be in favor of it. And so we'll have to see where it goes. So we'll have to see if this strategy actually works. I think this is the right strategy to have right now. They should have had this strategy last year, right after they passed that $1.9 trillion bill and they started talking about the first infrastructure bill and the second infrastructure bill. They really should have been talking about, okay, who supports it, who doesn't? And the people who don't support it, they needed to put them out. They're right away. They needed to let the people know, look, this is what we want for you guys. What do the Republicans want? What does Senator Manchin want? What does Senator Sinema want? That should have been out there from the start. But now you're kind of playing catch up, because the American people, they're just looking at the Democrats and saying the Democrats can't get anything done, but they're not looking at the Republicans and saying, wait, the Republicans aren't doing anything either. So who do we pick? Who do we choose? So I want to know what you guys think about all this, so let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.